Yo, what is up everyone, back here with another video. You guys might have noticed it's been a little bit since the last video. Right now I'm just trying to make sure that the videos I'm putting out are like really high quality content. Obviously, as we're progressing through series 12, there are certain periods where there's a little bit less to upload about. Also too, I was really focused on the IC. I really wanted to have a good performance for this IC, so I put a ton of time into just practicing. Now, what's really interesting about this IC was pretty much I had decided on a team that overall was pretty standard. You'll see that most people usually bias towards teams that are like they usually have a bit more of a gimmick, right? For me, I found that I wanted to use something that was pretty consistent, that I knew I could outplay my opponents with, and that because I had changed some sets, it would still give me a little bit of an information advantage, right? But like, I'm a big player who kind of opts for consistency, so this team is very much like a best of 3 team, as it is like a best of 1 team, right? Like, I designed this team like I would design a team for a tournament in any case, which sounds weird, but like, it's just my comfort level, that's just how I play and how I build. So yeah. If you guys don't know, the base of this team is a very common Sun team that's been running around, originally popularized by Rinya. I hear like a bunch of different names, but another Japanese player, right, from the last IC. So this 6 had been really popular, and I had had it played versus me, and I had used it. I was really intrigued about it because I really like the idea of Assault Vest Groudon, stacking boost next to Gastrodon, having screens. The original didn't have screens, but I felt like it had a lot of potential with screens, so I was really interested in that. And then some other stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick rundown, kind of go through the individual slots in the team, talk a little bit about the pairs, and then, obviously go from there. Now, obviously, Salt Lake City Regionals is coming up soon. Obviously, I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet, but for the sake of, obviously, protecting the information of the team's full pace will be up on Patreon. The open sheet will be in the description down below, right? And and obviously I'll be talking about the team. So you guys have information on it. It's just I don't want to make the EVs public at the moment, right? But yeah, that being said, we'll start with Zacian, right? Zacian, honestly, is probably the least interesting. I mean, it's just a Zacian, right? Like, it's running Behemoth, Sacred Sword, Play Rough, Protect. I know some Zacians on this team like to run Solar Blade for the mirror. I didn't find that to be too necessary. I have a Charizard for the mirror, right? For me, I just wanted a consistent Zacian. Play Rough was really important for hitting stuff like Palkia if I needed to, right? Which ended up coming into play, obviously. And then on top of that, or like it ended up coming into play like during my run off stream, right? Because I only streamed like the last day of the IC. I really focused like the first 2 days. But yeah, so I ended up playing a bunch of games, right? With the the team, and I just found the standardization was fine, and when I say I played a bunch of games, I mean I played like 3 showdown games to see if I liked the team. Got to 1700s, I was like, all right, this is fine. But yeah, and then Groudon's Assault Vest, a pretty standard set for Assault Vest. I'm running Fire Punch, Precipice Blades, Heavy Slam, Stone Edge. You guys might be like, yo, why Stone Edge over Rock Slide? Stone Edge lets me pick up a KO on Charizard in Dynamax, and that was actually really big, right? Because in a lot of situations, I was able to win games because I didn't have to commit a max to my Groudon to KO opposing Charizard. I was just able to click Scary Face and like Stone Edge and just KO Charizard, right? If you run Rock Slide, the spread damage, you'll never KO Charizard, right? It'll never be a one-shot on it, no matter like where it is, right? And if there's a Reflect or something, it's even worse. So Stone Edge was just the optimal choice there. I was really happy with that. Heavy Slam was also crazy good. I was able to snipe like Grimmsnarls without having to let my Zacian get paralyzed, right? Because normally when you're dealing with Grimmsnarls, and you want to remove them immediately, pretty much it comes at the cost of like your Zacian getting paralyzed, and then you go for Behemoth, and then you're paralyzed later on, right? But here you can just click Heavy Slam, KO Grimmsnarl outright, not too much issues. I decided to go for Fire Punch over Heat Crash because I wanted to be able to hit like stuff in max, right? Obviously you could opt for Heat Crash if you really want, but I just found the Fire Punch was just better overall. Then for Grimmsnarl. So Grimmsnarl was running a pretty standard screen set. Whoa. I have an alarm set on my phone. I kind of forgot about that. I got to turn off my alarms real quick. I didn't want to, I don't want copyright music to go off on the YouTube. That would be not very bueno. Yeah, I have like 10 alarms set because I have like a invitational or something soon. Or like a kind of Smash Pokemon event. Actually, by the time this video goes up, I might be live with it. So make sure to check it out. But yeah. Anyways, so Grimmsnarl was running a pretty standard set with Spear Break, Light Screen, Scary Face, and Reflect. So I wanted to run screens on this team. I just like the consistency of screens. When you have extra bulk, it kind of allows for like a little bit more margin of error, which is something I really appreciate about screens, and why like all my teams in this format have pretty much utilized it. because it just gives you a lot of options, right? And like there's no necessarily like there's no drawback to it, you know. Having having that extra bulk for like the rest of the game is actually really relevant. It can really like help something not break through you. So, Scary Face over Thunder Wave. So, Scary Face was really important to me because in the Sun Mirror, Charizards are now biasing towards Lumberry a lot. Even you see my own has it. Scary Face just lets you, you know, slow those things down. Even slowing down opposing Groudon that had an Airstream boost and like the Sun Mirror was really nice. And slowing down Zapdos. So that actually came into play on my last match of the IC. I played versus a Zapdos. It was at like +1. Because I had Scary Face, I was able to lower its speed, and that put me in a phenomenal position compared to, or put me in a better position compared to like what it could have been, right? So yeah, super useful move, I'd say. I think Scary Face was like really huge in this tournament, and like Spirit Break was really good too. I do not like Foul Play that much. My issue with Foul Play is just like it's so specific to one or two Pokemon, right? Because realistically, you're hitting like opposing Groudon and then Calyrex, as opposed to Spirit Break. Like lowering special attack on a bunch of Pokemon is super relevant, right? Like even versus Yveltal is so nice just to be able to hit it. So just really nice. And then Charizard, Charizard was the most straightforward out of the bunch. Literally just Lumberry so it can't get Thunder Waved, right? And it was Blast Burn, Solar Beam, Hurricane, Protect. I just wanted as much power with Blast Burn and Hurricane as possible. Solar Beam was really useful because I needed the cover for opposing Gastrodon and opposing Seismitoad. And even when like I was out of max in some cases and I was just able to Solar Beam into Kyogre, it was super nice. Like I would do like 75%, right? And like that's a good chunk of damage to get into these Pokemon. So I felt pretty good overall about it, right? It was able to do like what it needed to. It was able to get off the damage, so super useful. Then we get Gastrodon here. So I have mentioned in videos how much I hate Protect Gastrodon. However, I will admit, in the current format right now, Protect Gastrodon is better, right? Recover, I felt like was the optimal option for a bit, but now I feel like Protect is much better just because it lets you stay on the field. You know, you can obviously spread yawns. Actually, interesting enough, I guess Recover never really would have came into play for me anyways, because I wasn't even clicking Protect too often. Like, I click Protect enough where, like, I think Protect's a better move, right? But, like, I ended up, you know, like, just kind of attacking or, like, yawning most of the time, right? The thing is, with this Gastrodon as well, is it's so useful with this team because it just offers you an extra Kyogre like pivot, right? Because normally like AV Groudon, you'd swap in a Kyogre, you'd be like, okay, this is fine, you know, you're not taking too much damage. But that combined with Light Screen and then Gastrodon is like super oppressive for Kyogre, right? It makes it really difficult for these Kyogre teams. And then obviously your last slot can be like a filler for whatever you need, right? But yeah, like overall, I'd say it's pretty solid. I was running Ice Beam, Earth Power, Yawn, Protect. Nothing really too, I guess, weird there. It was pretty straightforward, so nothing too crazy there. Then we have Incineroar, right? Incineroar was running a Shuka Berry. This just kind of let me sit in front of like ground types. Specifically, I did this for my Landers matchup. I was basically able to sit there, right? Because White Herb Landers can be like kind of annoying, right? So basically, I'd get the Intimidate on White Herb, right? I would Parting Shot into the Landers, right? They would probably Swords Dance or they would attack, right? If they attack, I live with Shuka Berry, Parting Shot them, now they're at -1, swap Incineroar back in, they're at -2. If they Swords Dance, I Parting Shot into them, right? Then I bring back an Incineroar, even if they max quick the slot I live, and they're also at minus, or they're at neutral, right? Behind a Reflect. So basically it was just a completely waste there, like max if they went for it. It felt like pretty good overall. I felt like I was in a pretty decent position, right? So pretty solid. That would have been the one time I guess Foul Play would have been more beneficial in the Grim, but like for the most part, I did not regret the Spirit Brick choice at all. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. The Incineroar also had Throat Chop to just block other Incineroars if I were faster from Parting Shotting if I really wanted to. Didn't really come into play too much. I actually use Throat Chop more often to just hit Calyrexes with, like, Throat Chop. So, nothing too complicated there, I guess. But, yeah. Then we have a Zacian and Incineroar. Zacian and Incineroar was a really good lead into matchups that like didn't really like Zacian being led. I typically led it to just like instantly reduce damage, pressure Behemoth Blades turn 1, and then potentially like Parting Shot into something like Groudon, Gastrodon, or like, you know, whatever was in the back. It was pretty fun. I would say normally when I led this, I usually had like Groudon and Gastrodon in the back, right? And went with more of the bulkier core of the team. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty solid overall. I felt like pretty comfortable with this lead. Then Grimmsnarl Charizard. This was really good into like bulky steel type matchups. So typically like Dialga or Solgaleo. Whoop, okay. Camera was out of focus there for a second. But like, yeah, basically I would like lead it into mostly Solgaleo. I felt like for the most part, pretty much like I would just leverage it to get that immediate fire damage if I needed to. I would also like be able to side Scary Face myself if like it was like Trick Room plus steel type, right? So I could just side Scary Face myself and then like Wildfire or whatever. And then on top of that too, right, you also get the benefit of like being able to swap in Groudon from the back, and Grimmsnarl being pretty slow. You can just swap in Groudon last for the most part. So yeah. Then Groudon Grimmsnarl, I actually led this a lot into Tornogre. Mostly because, like, after Light Screen and, like, you have Sun Up and Assault Vest, like, Kyogre's doing nothing to you. You can, like, start Max Quaking from the start if you really want to, or you can, like, solo down Tornadus immediately. Like, you have a lot of options, right? And the opponent typically doesn't expect that too much. Also, because you have Scary Face, you could keep Scary Face spamming and, like, lowering them down, right? But this was, like, a really impressive lead. It was able to do a bunch. So, was super happy with, like, the team and how it turned out. Overall, my thoughts on team, I think it's a really solid team. It would even be solid for best of 3. Would I bring this to next event? That's something that I guess I'm still unsure about, right? The metagame's like a little bit in a weird spot right now. There are a bunch of different archetypes. Also, the IC doesn't particularly determine, you know, what's the best in the game, because IC single ladder, like single battle ladder is like kind of interesting, right? Not single battle, like double battle, but like one, you know, like best of 1, which is very interesting. So yeah, overall, pretty interesting team. Here's the actual paste. We'll go over to that. So this is the open sheet. Ignore that Pitbull. See, that's what came on my alarm, and it never went away. So I guess you guys got to see what my alarm is. Anyways, so over here, obviously, you have Groudon, right? Standard set. Zacian, Charizard, Grimmsnarl, Incineroar, Gastrodon, right? Pretty good team. This should be Storm Drain. All right, we're gonna go back here for a second. All right, let me try that last part again, okay? Let me try that last part again. So now, guys, we're going to go and look at the pace of the team that I used to get second place in the International Challenge. Okay, we're good now. Anyways, so yeah, obviously it's Storm Drain, right? But, yeah, no, pretty solid team overall. I felt really good about my run. All my losses were avoidable too, right? Like, I actually genuinely feel like all of my games, had I made a different decision, like the ones I lost, because I went 40-5, right? Like, 40-5 is really good. But had I made one different decision in each game that I lost, I would have won the game, right? So that's a pretty good record for me overall. I would have loved to have won. I ended up at 19-18, and Maluka, the person who won, or I would assume wins at this point. This is still being recorded before the IC wraps up, but like I'm pretty confident this is second place. If not, I mean, then I guess just make it third place, you know? And then Maluka, I'm pretty confident is going to get number 1. Like 1936 is really hard to beat, so pretty confident we locked up the first and second place, but we'll see. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the team from me. If you guys obviously enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know. Let me know about your thoughts on the team down below. You know, it's a pretty fun team to use overall, and I definitely am happy I brought it. It was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed the team. I've been really trying to emphasize this format, like making myself use like different teams to like kind of get more familiar with different archetypes, right? It's like a very like good habit to have, I feel like. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for all the support. Incredibly appreciate it as always, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace. Oh, before I go, make sure to check out Patreon. Make sure to check out coaching if you guys would like to improve your skills, get better at the the game, and also to Patreon if you guys would like to support me beyond YouTube. Once again, guys, thank you. Incredibly appreciate it. See you guys in the next video.